8 years with a man and you think you know him. I thought Frank and I were unbreakable, a love so tight nothing could slip through. But one night tore it all apart. Want to know how a simple visit to his office shattered everything I believed about love, trust, and the man I called mine? This isn't easy to hear, but it's raw, real, and it matters. If betrayal has ever turned your world upside down, this one's for you. I always believed Frank and I were solid. 8 years wove our lives so tight I couldn't imagine a world without him. We weren't perfect. Nobody is. But we knew each other's quirks, finished each other's sentences, shared whole thoughts with a glance. Or so I thought. Now standing in the chilly Miami night, staring through a window, framing him with another woman, my world split open piece by piece. It started small, like these things do. Frank had been distant for months. Little things like drifting during our talks, late dinners. His phone always face down on the table. I told myself it was work stress. His job demanded everything, and I'd seen how hard he pushed to keep it all together. But then came canceled plans, late-night meetings, the faint scent of unfamiliar perfume clinging to him. When I found a receipt in his jacket for a dinner at a fancy restaurant we'd never been to, doubt started to unravel me. I ignored it. I wanted to trust him. I needed to. 8 years of shared memories, laughter, love, a fortress we'd built together. Who'd throw that away? It was a Friday night. Frank texted he'd be working late. I'd planned a quiet evening at home, but something in my gut wouldn't let me sit still. Call it instinct, call it paranoia. I felt a pull to see him, to bring him dinner, coffee, anything to feel close during those late-night grinds. We'd done it before, me on his office couch reading while he worked, a familiar comfort. But tonight, as I walked the long, dimly lit hallway to his office, something felt off. His car was parked outside the light in his office, glowing faint under the door. My heart felt heavy, but I told myself I was being ridiculous. I was just here to surprise him, nothing more. Then I heard it, a muffled sound, low like a stifled laugh. My breath caught. I slowed, straining to listen. It wasn't laughter, it was a woman's voice. My stomach churned, skin prickling with unease. I hesitated outside the door, hand hovering over the knob, reason screaming to turn back, to pretend I heard nothing. But I couldn't stop myself. I needed to see. The door wasn't locked. It creaked as I pushed it open, the sound slicing the silence like a blade. And there they were. I froze in the doorway, breath trapped in my chest, unable to move, unable to speak. Frank's shirtless tie hanging loose around his neck, hair mussed in a way too intimate, too raw. His hands that once traced my body with care, gripped her hips, fingers digging into her curves like she was his. Her legs wrapped around him, black heels still on, glinting in the dim office light. Her blouse hung off her shoulders, revealing smooth skin and a black lace bra that twisted my gut. The desk groaned under their rhythm, a sound so familiar it made me want to scream. His face, God, his face. Frank's head tilted back, eyes half-closed, lips parted in a way that showed he was lost in her, lost in the moment, oblivious to me standing there. I wanted to believe it wasn't real, some cruel trick, but the details were too sharp. His fingers pressing into her skin, her nails raking his back, leaving faint red trails. Her head thrown back, her lips, whispering his name in a breathless moan that burned my ears. My feet felt rooted to the floor, body numb with shock. My heart pounded a drum in my ears, every part of me screaming to run, to stop looking. But I couldn't tear my eyes from the destruction of everything I thought I knew. Blood drained from my face, my skin cold and clammy, knees threatening to buckle. My chest heaved with panic, a sour taste rising in my throat. The takeout bag slipped from my shaking hands, hitting the carpet with a soft thud, quiet, but enough to snap them out of their haze. Frank's eyes opened, locking onto mine. For a split second his face was blank, stunned, like his brain couldn't process what he saw. Then it shifted: panic, guilt, fear. "Clara," he started, voice hoarse, cracking. The woman turned, her expression a mix of shame and irritation, like I'd interrupted something sacred. She scrambled to cover herself, fumbling with her blouse, but the damage was done. My eyes darted between them, taking in every humiliating detail: the sweat on Frank's chest, the smear of her red lipstick on his neck, papers scattered on the desk, like they'd been shoved aside in a hurry. This space, once an extension of our life together, now felt like a battlefield, and I was the only one unarmed. "Frank," I choked, barely recognizing my own voice, hollow, broken. He stepped back from her, hands raised as if to shield himself from my gaze. "Clara, this isn't what it looks like," he stammered, words spilling out in a pathetic rush. I let out a bitter laugh, sharp and unnatural in the tense silence. "Not what it looks like," I spat. "Frank, I just walked in on you." My voice broke and I pressed a hand to my mouth, fighting the nausea threatening to drown me. My pulse thundered, heart racing so fast it felt like it might tear itself apart. Tears blurred my vision, but I refused to let them fall. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing me cry. "How long?" I demanded, voice trembling with rage. "How long has this been going on?" He didn't answer, just stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. The woman looked away, cheeks flushed, clutching her blouse to her chest. She couldn't even speak. "You can't even admit it," I whispered, the weight of betrayal sinking deeper with every second. Frank took a hesitant step toward me, hands outstretched, like he thought he could fix this, like he could touch me and make it right. "Clara, please," he said, voice desperate. "Let me explain." "Don't," I snapped, stepping back, fists clenched at my sides. "Don't you dare come near me." The words hung heavy, final. He stopped, arms dropping, and for the first time I saw him for what he was: a liar, a coward, a stranger. I turned and walked out, my footsteps echoing in the hallway. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The image of them together, his hands on her, his eyes lost in her, was burned into my mind. No matter how far I ran, I'd never outrun it. Was I wrong to believe in our love, to trust someone so completely? This story might break your heart, but sometimes sharing the pain is the first step to healing. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever survived a betrayal that changed everything? If you want more stories of finding strength in the darkest moments, like and subscribe. Sometimes our greatest strength comes from walking away. Thanks for watching.